Now, when people kind of start overcoming that injury and are on the
Yeah.
road to recovery, how do people overcome that fear, that fear that they have after injury? How they might get re-injure themselves,
Right.
or how they might, irritate things, and how do
Right.
they don't want to return back to the way they were.
Well, I think one of the main reasons is believing in what you did during the recovery process, believing that it worked, and that upon your return, you will be able to jump back into doing what you were doing. It may not be full speed, and in fact, it probably shouldn't be. But one of the ways to overcome that fear is if you were operating, let's say, at 85 to 95% capacity, then what would it look like for you to scale back a little bit and do things about half speed until you can progress, because progress equals success as long as you're headed in the right direction. And I think that that's one solid way to look at it. Also, too, just the fact that you can look at others who have overcome perhaps a similar injury. Somebody who has went through what you've gone through, and if they've especially been able to make it out, then that is suggesting to you that you can do the same thing. So surrounding yourself with people and looking up stories of folks who have had a success regarding that injury and coming back from it, that's how you can definitely overcome that fear.
Awesome. And then,
Yeah.
one thought that goes through people's mind is,
Right.
like perfectionism and fearing
Yeah.
of failure, like, not being able to return back to the way they were.
Right.
Kind of like I mentioned in that story, a lot of times the process that people go through is they think that the
Hmm.
pain's going to be at this level forever, and that they never might be able to go back to what they were doing before. It might be
Right.
sport, activity, living, work. How do you prevent that perfectionism and that fear of not making it? Getting fully recovering from that injury.
I think that's a legitimate concern, a legitimate, maybe even fear, if you will. One of the ways to overcome that is number one, knowing that, well, there's nobody perfect, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
though that may sound cliche, it's very true. But even perfectionists would like to know this, Rick, that we are perhaps maybe perfecting, and that it's a process, it's a journey. And one of the ways that we learn is actually by getting things wrong, because we can assess what went wrong. We can take valuable tools and lessons and resources to overcome the hurdles that perhaps set us back. I think just being true, like Shakespeare would say, to thine self be true. I mean, we all know that no matter how good a shape we're in, Rick, and I'm sure you can attest to this because you're a man with bulging biceps and all of that good stuff. That no matter how good we're feeling across our body, there's still something that is not 100%. There's something that's, especially as you grow older, you may have a knick-knack there or here, but that is just the human body, and it should actually encourage us to continue to work towards getting better, because we know that, hey, we're finite beings, there's no one alive who makes it out of here alive.
yeah.
And so with that being the case, take care of yourself and understand that it's a process in the journey.
Yeah, definitely. And then what would
Yeah.
be, anything that moves you away from balance or homeostasis or from
Mhm.
the norm is stressful. So what would be
Right.
some tips to cope with the stress of an injury?
Wow. Yeah. I revisiting again when I was a freshman in college, when football was essentially almost like my everything. I just loved being out on the field. I like practice, and that if a lot of people would scratch their heads about that, because really it's about game time for most people. I even enjoy practice. So just being on the sideline, Rick, was very tough. But I can tell you, and this is just this will work generically regarding any type of stress, and it doesn't have to necessarily be related to exercise even, but just stress in general. As we grow older, statistics will let you know that you become easily more and more stressful, and so we want to try to fend that off. And so one of the ways is just listening to good music that just puts you in good spirits. I mean, I think also of course, smiling. They say it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. So just smiling. I love this as a great stress relieving tip, especially for those who are injured. Is if you're able to walk, there's an African proverb that says, if you're able to walk, then you can run, or rather, if you're able to walk, then you can dance. Now, it doesn't necessarily say that you would be a good dancer, but at least you can dance. So the fact that walking gives you the sense of progress and moving forward, with your injury, when feeling stressed, just going on a walk and giving your body the sensation of actually moving forward and doing something effective will help you too. Taking big, deep breaths will relieve blood pressure, and also it oxidates your body as well to calm your nerves and to oxidate your muscles. Surrounding yourself with good, positive people as well. When you're injured, you don't want to be they say misery loves company. You don't want to be dealing,
yes.
you don't want to be dealing with people who are singing the same old sad song if you're trying to get out of your own rut. So those are some great stress relieving tips, not just for those who are injured, but for just those who are stressed out in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, what would the role of motivation be in injury rehabilitation or injury recovery? And then, I think you've kind of highlighted a couple things. Just
sure.
Being surrounded by positive people, encouraging people. Look at music that can distract you from the negative and keep you in the positive. What would be some other roles when it comes to motivation, helping with injury recovery?
Yeah, well, I'm huge on motivation. If you haven't been able to tell, with just my enthusiasm over this interview, and I really believe it plays a critical role in everything we do, especially when it comes to being down and out, having an injury, and needing to rehabilitate. The world-renowned Zig Ziglar also is obviously big on motivation, and he believes that we should do it daily. In fact, one of his famous quotes, he said, people say that motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why you should do it daily. And so daily motivation is important. Just getting your mind in the right space and place to go, I think, is very vital to helping you overcome your injury, because motivation essentially is what you need to start. I believe inspiration is what you need to keep going. But you won't ever have a chance to keep going if you don't have the motivation to start. So where do we start, especially if we're lacking motivation when we're trying to come out of that injury? It's just remembering your reason why. Rick, it may sound simple, it may sound plain, but I'm telling you it's effective if you really do this exercise. Think of the 1, 2 to 3 reasons why you perhaps got involved with maybe ironically, you should think even, what landed you here in the first place of being injured? I'm sure you were motivated to do something for yourself or the people around you, especially when it comes to exercise. Most people do it for their family or their friends and even themselves, or to fit into a pair of jeans, you name it. I think that you should definitely focus on your reason why, because there's two important days in our lives: when we were born and when we figure out why we were born. That's Mark Twain. So figure I'd throw that in there.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, how can we use our injury as motivation to return stronger than ever?
I think the fact that you're coming back, should be motivation in and of itself. That there's a saying that the universe will submit to your will if you just keep coming back. And so I like the sheer fact of this alone is that when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And so you got to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and realizing in and of itself that the fact that you're still alive, you're still here, that's reason enough to know that life isn't done with you yet, and you have more living to go. And your body, this is the only place where we have to live. Jim Rohn said that. So this is the only place where we have to live, right? So we want to take care of this place, and I don't think there's any other place better to start than with that sheer motivation, because when you take care of yourself, the other people around you benefit that you care the most about.
Awesome. Now that kind of covers all the questions that I had when it comes to the interview. Was there anything you want to leave people with, or is there a question that I didn't ask you that you hoped I asked you? Anything you want to leave people with?
Well, I will say this. First off, Rick, I admire you from afar. And I'm so thankful to be able to tell you that through this interview, the work that you've done in terms of contributing to so many people with helping them overcome their injuries through exercise is vital. And I'm hoping, I'm praying for even more successes. You already have worldwide fame. It's only going to get bigger from here. And so thank you for giving me this opportunity to be online with you through Skype. And I would say in terms of what I would love to leave our viewing audience with is just simply this, that I really believe that every person has a supernatural gifting in them to accelerate and excel, to take their life to the next level. And I hope that you would first start with you. It's very hard to be able to pour into others if you're not taking care of yourself first. If you can imagine two pitchers and they're about half full of water, if you continue to pour into others, then eventually your pitcher will become empty. So what I implore of you to do is to take care of yourself through exercise, through health, and through fitness. And if you're injured, just know that perhaps that setback isn't final. Willie Jolly says this: a setback is a setup for a comeback, and I believe that your comeback is right on the way. So thank you so much for giving me your time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nisan.
Thank you, Rick. Really appreciate it. Oh, I should mention this too, Rick. If anyone would love to receive the motivation side of things with what I bring to the table, they're always welcome to visit www.nisantrotter.com, and you'll see just to the right of the page, I have 4 special videos that I give away absolutely for free. It's going to help them in terms of focusing on what I call their inner RPM, playing off my name, Nisan, that will help them with their giftings and their passions.
Awesome. And that's where people can get more information about you. And I'll have that link probably underneath this video or in the description to that site, so people can visit your site and sign up and get those videos. So was there anything else, Nisan?
Rick, I think that's absolutely everything, man.
Awesome. So thank you very much, Nisan, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you everyone at exercisesforinjuries.com. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Now make sure to swing by exercisesforinjuries.com. Enter in your injury or pain. There's a good chance of an article, video, or an interview that'll help you overcome your injury or pain. Also, pretty much enter in whatever health or fitness topic you have. There's a good chance that I have an article, video, or interview for that. So that's it. This is Rick Cassell with Nisan saying take care and bye-bye.